Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another look at Fallout 76. And it's been a while since we last looked at Fallout 76. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do another video after the two I released from the early access beta, or from the beta. So, in general, I ended up just kind of going, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and drop a video to tell you my experience and thoughts of course, Fallout 76, and to tell you what I think about it. And, you know, I will probably give a little bit of a review later on about the game and how I feel about it, what I feel about it, and, you know, is it really worth the money you spent for it? So, you know. But we're not here to talk about it today. Today is just going to be a short video, just a very, very basic detail on what I feel about Fallout 76 and how I feel. Now, as you probably have already known, if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, well, Accureye, you're probably going to be disappointed, right? Actually, no. You know, compared to every other game that's come out this year, the one game that really disappointed me, and believe it or not, because it could have done well on its own, and to be honest, if it didn't have the name in it, it probably would have done well. But because it had the name, it was out there because Namco, or Konami, wanted to sell the game. And the game I'm actually more disappointed about than Fallout 76 is actually Metal Gear Survive. I really think that game, Metal Gear Survive, could have done well if it didn't have Metal Gear in it. You see what I mean? The problem is, Metal Gear Survive was such a disappointing title. And, you know, honestly, I think Metal Gear Survive disappointed me more than actually Fallout 76. Fallout 76, I mean, yes, it was disappointing. Yes, it was kind of broken. Yes, it was not exactly everything everyone was hyped up to see. But compared to Metal Gear Survive, you know, at least it seemed like it worked. At least it had some quality behind it. Metal Gear Survive, it was like, yeah, we're just putting Metal Gear name in there. We're going to make it kind of a side story to Metal Gear 5, to Metal Gear Solid 5, and we're going to basically sell it that way. You know, it had nothing to do with Snake. And in many ways, it only had a few references to Snake in it. Which is why Metal Gear Survive to me was more disappointing than Fallout 76. But, I mean, let's talk about that later on when I do talk about Metal Gear Survive and my thoughts about it. We're here to talk about Fallout 76, and personally, I think it's actually a fun game. It's not exactly everything everyone was hoping for. You know, it's not like it's the greatest game in the world. It definitely was lacking. It definitely was unfortunate that it met such a reception of, like, what? This is Fallout 76? But what about all the hype? What about all the backing behind it and stuff like that? And, you know, I think it comes down to someone was pulling some strings. I think the reason Fallout 76 was so disappointing, and I mean, if you can get past the disappointment, the reason Fallout 76 was so disappointing was the fact that, you know, you had the deadlines coming up, you know, and I'm sure either Xbox or maybe PlayStation were pulling screws saying, hey, you gotta release this as soon as you can. Because, I mean, obviously, as you know, many people were disappointed that they didn't get the collector's bag that they were promised, that they bought, like, the special collector's edition. You know, people were disappointed in the gameplay. People were like, this is Fallout 76, it's terrible. And, I mean, I understand it. You know, Fallout 76 wasn't everything everyone was hoping for. I mean, given that this is Bethesda, you know, you remember, this is Bethesda. Bethesda, of course, has been known to be quality games. But, I mean, because this is the first game Bethesda has done where it's online and it's stocked within their own house. It's from their own company. I believe that the programmers were just not prepared. The programmers didn't know what the heck they were doing. It was like, okay, we're smart enough, we want online gameplay, we want this, we want that. And let's just make it happen. Well, I'm sure they made it look, the game obviously looks beautiful. The game obviously has details and stuff that is absolutely amazing. But I think the problem is, when the deadline was hitting the corner, instead of saying, can we delay the release to PlayStation or Xbox or whoever was pulling strings, PlayStation or Xbox was like, showing them the clock and going, tick-tock, time's up, we gotta get this thing out of here. And I think that the rush between that and, of course, the fact that maybe the engineers were just not ready to release everything caused the riot that it did. I mean, honestly, at least it's not as disappointing as Atlas. I mean, if you've been watching anything about Atlas, if you watched Atlas during the very first day, there were over 400,000 viewers watching Atlas. And guess what? No streamer that was streaming it actually could get on. So, in general, is Fallout 76 really as disappointing as people claim it is? Is Fallout 76 as bad as people claim it is? In my opinion, absolutely not. Now, where could Bethesda gone right? Well, I'd love to tell you, but I think we should tell you when I do a full review and talk about the game in general. But with that being said, I mean, I personally think Fallout 76, as backlashed as it was, is a pretty dang good game. Now, is it worth $60? I mean, I'm gonna leave that up to you to decide. Is it worth the $100 that you may have spent if you pre-ordered the game? Again, I'm gonna leave that for you to decide. Many people probably have said no, that was not worth the money I spent on it. But I mean, some of us, who knows? Who knows? I mean, it may have been worth the money. Either way, I mean, I don't want to deter you away from trying Fallout 76. If you want to try out Fallout 76, go ahead and try it. But either way, I mean, at the end of the day, I find that Fallout 76 is not the most disappointing game out there. And with that being said, I know this may be a bit of a short video, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. This is a bit of a short video, but, hopefully this has helped you understand that in general and in the turn of things, Fallout 76, as much of a backlash as it got, is not, the game of, it's not the most disappointing game. I think, honestly, in 2018, Atlas and maybe even Metal Gear Survive had a worst case scenario. But with that being said, I mean, thank you everybody for joining me on today's video. If you like this video, hit that like button. It does help. It does help us get more views and more interest in the channel. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you know when my next video goes live next. Thank you everybody for joining me on today's video. And, yeah, I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure. Monday, Tuesday, and Sunday are potentially 2 to 3 hour streams that I'm trying to work into the schedule. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me on today's video. And until the next one, this is Accureye, signing out and saying farewell, everyone.